Welcome back to Plant Etc. Well, today I went out and it was very frosty. I mean, we are still in January. The ground is still frozen. Everything is still frozen. The sidewalk, you walk on anything that looks like grass, well, it's actually pretty crunchy. So in this kind of depth of winter, I think for everybody that lives in the north, you kind of start looking at your garden and looking a little bit at the mess and thinking, what should I start? There is hope. I took some really lovely pictures of some really beautiful snowdrops. The birds are still trying to find whatever they can to eat, but there is some nice snowdrops that are coming out. I am in zone 8, so I am lucky enough to have some days that are way above 0, so around 5 and 6, so there is some snowdrops that are coming out. But when you walk around early in the morning, definitely the roofs are still very frosty, and the birds are trying to find whatever they can to eat. But in this depth of winter, we start thinking a little bit about what we're going to start for this month. So before we even start about what kind of seeds we're going to grow, you got to think about what kind of soil you're going to use to start your seedlings. You have to make sure that it is something that is very light, that's not very heavy. So you can't be looking outside and thinking you're going to use your compost. What's in your compost bin might not quite be finished anyway, and it might be very heavy. You can use some ready mix soil that you just buy from the store to start your seedlings. That might be a very easy way to go. If not, you can mix your own. You can add coco coir, some soil, some perlite. So that white stuff you see there, that's perlite. That really aerates the soil and makes it very light for your seedlings to be able to push through and to be able to start growing, and also to retain just enough moisture without it being soaking wet, because that's the other thing that will kill your seedlings like right away. If it is too wet, too soggy, it's not breathing, there's not enough air in the soil, that's not going to help them grow and get them started the right way. So think about all that. If you don't want to go through the trouble of mixing your own, like I said, with regular soil, coco coir, perlite, if you don't want to do any of that, you can just buy a seedling starting mix, which is just as good. Okay. Let's look at what kind of container you're going to use. Of course, you've seen these little cells. You might have some left from last year where you bought some seedlings and you've kept them. You can get creative and use eggshell, or even use the egg carton itself to start your seedlings. People also do that as a process. People also use these pellets, these kind of coco coir pellets, and the little material that's surrounding them is biodegradable. It's maybe some kind of a cotton. So if you use that, that's great. If you have these kind of cells that I'm showing you, that's also good. But something small that's about 1 to 2 inch max, where you're going to put some soil in there, but it's not going to be too big. I'm showing you the container that I use. I use the Bootstrap Farmer's 6-cell tray. There's a big hole at the bottom there. I'm showing you how big it is. I put my finger through it, and you're able to push the little plant out. They come with a tray if you buy the tray, and then you can bottom water for your plant. So that's a great tray to buy and a great sell. It's a bit of an investment, but it is very much worth it. I've had them now for 2 seasons. It's my 2nd season with them, and they will last even longer than that. Now I'm going to go through what we're going to grow. Of course, this time of year, we have to think that whatever we're putting in the ground, or whatever seedling, I should say, that we're starting, is going to have to be a little bit of winter hardy. So we're starting out with kale. So I'm showing you the variety that I have there. This is the lacinato. It's kind of like the Italian kale. And I also have the starboar, which is more of the curly kale. So those kales are very hardy. I mean, I call them my Jurassic Park kind of kale, the lacinato. Especially, I'm showing it to you right now in the garden. It is such a beautiful and so strong and vigorous kale. It will last throughout the winter for you. Even right now, if you were to put it out early, it will be fine. It will not die. But start your seedlings and get those going. Okay, next up is collards. Collards is another one of my favorite plants. It's again very winter hardy. You can see my seeds are from 2022. Again, I will start those. I'll probably do about 6 plants and that'll be enough. Maybe I'll tin it down to 4 when I decide to plant it out. Next up is Swiss chard. Swiss chard is again one of our favorite plants. I plant the bright lights. It comes in kind of a reddish and green color and some white and some yellow. It is just gorgeous. I'm now showing it to you guys here in my little winter garden. I still have some that I planted from the summer that have survived. Been eaten up a little bit by the slugs, but still holding strong. Bellini is the next thing. I enjoy trying this plant out. I haven't had great success with it, but I have tried every year to grow a little bit of it, 1 or 2 plants, and I get a little bit out of it. It's nice and tall. It's like broccoli, but you don't have to wait for the head to be as big before you can collect it. You can just collect the side shoots, and it's really delicious in stir fries. Next up, this is my pride and joy. It's the Salanova lettuce. It is the greatest lettuce I've ever grown. It is beautiful. It comes in a combination of colors. I usually get the house mix from Johnny's. It is well worth it. It's not cheap, but it is a pelleted kind of seed, so it's very easy to put in the ground. And once you taste it, you'll never grow any other lettuce. Also, the other thing I've noticed, which is interesting, is in my winter garden, which is what I'm showing right now, the slugs don't seem to eat it. I don't know why, but nobody's touching it. But it is a great, great lettuce to grow, so give that a try. Next up is arugula. Arugula is a great mix to add to your salad. It's very spicy. You can see here I have my seeds are from 2022 and they're still going strong. It's a really fast grower. You don't even need to start it right away at the beginning of February. You can wait till mid-February to start it. Within 2 weeks, it will be up and ready to go out in early March. This next one is spinach. Spinach is supposed to be easy to grow, but honestly, I have struggled with it. I'm not sure why, but every time I put it in, it hasn't done very well. This is my 2022 seeds, and I'm going to go back to those seeds because the year that I did try it in 22, it did work. So I'm going to use that this year. This next one is cilantro. Cilantro is very easy to grow. It actually is a plant you think you would be growing in the summer, but it actually likes very cool weather. So start it now and put it out around March and it will grow throughout the summer. Once it starts to go to flower, leave the flowers. There's a lot of insects that really love those flowers, and then it will produce seeds that you can use as coriander, and you'll be able to use that powder later on in the winter months. Next is celery. Celery is really winter hardy. It is also very, very, very slow to start. Normally, you would wait about 14 days to see if anything is germinated. With celery, you're lucky if you're going to see anything after 21 days. So just be very patient as you grow it. If you don't see anything, just keep watering the seedlings, and eventually something will pop out. But I'm showing it here in a picture. It is in my winter garden. It has survived. I planted it last summer and it survived the winter under, of course, a little bit of plastic protection, but it's doing pretty good. Last but not least are snow peas. I love growing snow peas. I buy them in bulk, as you can see. I grow the oregano giants. They are very nice long pods, very sweet. I keep my seeds for quite a while, but once the soil is thawed, you can start putting in your snow peas. You just put in a pea in the ground and it will start growing fairly quickly once the soil is warmed up a little bit, or you can start them indoor to give them a little bit of a head start. Either way, it's easy. You just need to make sure you give them a little bit of a trellis or something that they can climb on to make it easier. They are a climbing kind of plant, so give them something to climb and you'll have great success. So now that we've decided what type of seeds we're going to grow, such as our lettuce, spinach, collards, kale, Swiss chard, and of course arugula and peas, now that we're ready to plant those, where are we going to place them? The simplest thing to do is to put your plants on a windowsill. So when you start your germination process, not all your plants are going to need light right away. Some of them you can actually start in the dark, and once they've germinated, that's when you will move them towards the light. You will place them on your windowsill. Of course, hopefully you have a sunny windowsill, a south-facing one. This time of year, the sun is not out for very long, but if you have a south-facing window, you can use that. If you do not have a south-facing window, you're going to have to think of other options, such as buying some grow lights. Yes, some grow lights are going to be a bit of an investment, but it's something that you're going to use year after year to start your seedlings. So what you should consider, like I said before, is just look at your windows. See if you have a really sunny south-facing window, then you can put your plants there. You will have to make sure that you rotate the plants that you have that are on a windowsill so they don't get leggy and kind of bend one way and not the other, so kind of move them around a little bit. If you have a grow light, they should be growing nice and straight and strong, but just place them, of course, somewhere that is very sunny. The one thing to notice is read the packets. Like the Salanova seeds, they require light to be able to germinate, so you'll have to start them actually under the light, but not every plant is that way. So just make sure you review your instructions and see what your plant needs to germinate. Next up is to consider how you're going to water your plants. My preferred method is to water from underneath, so basically using the tray and then to water your seedlings that way. But of course, any method is fine as long as you keep your plants hydrated and you don't let the soil dry out too much around your seedlings. Now, just don't overwater, because if you overwater, you might actually kill your little seedlings because they're not very strong yet and they can't absorb all of that water. And the soil around it will stay too damp too long, and then your plant will die. Pretty much your seedlings will die if they get too wet. So just be aware of that. Don't overwater. Try and keep an eye out to when the soil is dry. Then give them a little bit of something to drink. Once your plants have grown successfully, the next step will be to harden them off. So basically that means putting them outside for a few hours a day before you plant them in the garden. If you plant them directly in the garden without doing that, they're not used to any of the wind, any rain, so they won't do very well. They'll kind of suffer for a little bit. So it is best just to take that little bit of time, a few hours a day, put them out, and then after a while they'll be ready. That process probably takes about a week, and then you're ready to go. So starting your seeds this time of year at the beginning of February means that they will be ready to go outside in 6 to 8 weeks. So about the time of Women's Day in March, there'll be probably the time for you to put them out. Now for sure, make sure you checked on your local frost date to see if that will work for you. But here in the Pacific Northwest, in Zone 8, this will work for us, especially for these very hardy plants that we've started. So any such things like kale and of course spinach and collards, all of those plants will do fine and will survive just a little bit of frost. So don't worry. Happy gardening. Enjoy this time of year and start your plants indoors. Okay, bye-bye. We'll see you in the next video.